Welcome everyone to our Southside Networking Breakfast. This is obviously unique. We're doing a webinar this month. I've been with the organization close to 6 years, and this is the second Thursday of the month that we're not at Don Pedro's. So this is unprecedented times, obviously. I hope to see everyone soon there again. But in the meantime, we're offering these webinars as a resource as these things change daily. We're going to offer these weekly, so continue to watch for that. But today we have joining us, and I want to kick it over to Mr. Leo Gomez from Brooks. He's just going to give us a little welcome and tell us some things going on over there. Mr.
Well, first of all, good morning to everybody. And I think it's a beautiful morning, as I was saying a little earlier to Al and to Nina. Any morning nowadays that we wake up corona-free is a fantastic morning. And so I'm glad to see you all on board here this morning and corona-free. Let's all keep it that way. I just want to spend a minute, maybe two, reminding us all of something that I think we all know and we've heard plenty of times, but I really want to try to bring it home. And that is how important small business is to our community. We can talk about all the kinds, we've seen studies over and over about who employs the most people at the end of the day, and it's small business and such, but I want to bring it home to Brooks. You see, Brooks couldn't be what Brooks is today. It couldn't have the energy it has today if it was nothing but chain restaurants and big mega businesses that don't have a heart and home grounded in San Antonio, in South San Antonio at Brooks. The small businesses at our Brooks are really important to us. Again, we couldn't be a community if we didn't have a neighborhood gym like Mixed Fit. We're thrilled to have Linda's Hair Salon that has been a staple in South San Antonio for 20 plus years, located at the Embassy Suites at Brooks. We have small businesses like the Jiu-Jitsu Studio and Tel Resource. We have Luna Rosa, an incredible family-owned restaurant right across the street there in the Brooks area. We have Chaba Thai, one of my weekly favorites as well. If we don't have those kinds of restaurants survive this crisis, our communities will be hurting. You all are on board, and so you all know that. But I say that because I've talked to a few who tell me, well, I don't know that I can apply for that. I don't know that I can get through the bureaucracy. I don't know that SBA will consider me. I don't know that I can afford to bring my employees back at this point in time. Well, the SBA's got a program approved by Congress that's ready to help with all of those. And we have Nina here from the SBA to address those very kinds of questions. So in closing, let me say this. If you're a small business and you have not applied for the PPP program, you're really doing yourself, your family, and your employees a disservice. Don't do that. Stay in the fight. Apply for it. And I look forward to the rest of the conversation this morning. Al, thank you for hosting this morning for us all.
Yes, sir. Well, real quick too, while we have you, you were quicker than I anticipated on the agenda. Our theme this year was South to the Future. We were already looking ahead to the next decade. Obviously, this crisis has created a hiccup for us on the South Side. Do you want to just brag about some things we know to come, especially at Brooks?
Absolutely. Listen. What we have is a crisis that is temporary. It may be a little longer than any of us imagined. It may be a little longer than any of us certainly want it to be. But at the end of the day, it's going to be temporary. There will be the day when we're allowed to get back to some kind of normal. And I got to share with you all, construction continues on Brooks. The kind of construction that's going to create jobs for 500 to another 1,000 people for the communities around Brooks. Oaken continues its development process, and they will eventually hire 1,000 plus people. We have a 350,000 square foot light industrial facility under construction. We have opportunity zone investors that understand we're in the midst of a crisis, but their interest is a long-term one, 25-year and 30-year deals. So they're not slowing down. They're continuing with the pre-development work. So I say all that to say that things haven't hit the brakes. Work continues. Our hotel, the Embassy Suites Hotel, maybe is not operating like it normally would, but it's going to be ready for the fall. We are going to work to get all our employees back into that hotel and begin taking reservations and be ready for post June and July into the fall. I really think the fall is going to be an incredible opportunity, and Brooks will be ready just along with the rest of the state's economy and the national economy to bounce back when the country's ready to.
Yes, sir. Thank you for joining us again this morning, sir. Appreciate you.
You bet, Al. Thank you.
So now with us, we do have Nina Ramon from the SBA San Antonio office, kind enough to join us this morning. She was kind enough to make some time with us this morning, and she has some good information. She's going to share with you what some of us have come to know that have for these programs is that it's ever evolving, but she has some great info for you here today and a presentation. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Nina. And once again, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Let me go ahead and share my screen real quick. So hopefully you'll be able to see both me and the presentation. So like Al said, my name is Nina Ramon. I am with the U.S. Small Business Administration. I work at the local district office. We are headquartered in San Antonio, but we cover 55 counties within South Texas, Central South Texas. And we share the state with 5 other district offices. In total, there are 68 district SBA district offices around the country to include the Guam and the Virgin Islands. Today, I'm going to go over the programs that the SBA is offering small businesses as we go through this time. You can follow us on Twitter. That's where I try to put out as much of the latest and greatest information or share some of the information that's being pushed out that is usable to the small business community, as well as the events and stuff that are going on. And then we have our local district website, which is sba.gov/TX/San Antonio. That's where you can find this presentation as well as some lender list.
If I could real quick, Nina, to the attendees as well, there's a raise hand option, and throughout the presentation, if there's some clarity or questions you might have, feel free to click on that and then send that question in the chat, and at the end, we'll get to some Q&A. Thanks, Nina.
Okay. Some of the things that we're going to go over is for both small businesses and nonprofits. We started out with the SBA's Economic Injury Disaster Loan, which is the only loan program that the SBA has that is directly funded by the agency. With the CARES Act, we added on the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Advance. And we have the SBA Express Bridge Loan, some of our SBA debt relief programs, as well as the Paycheck Protection Program, which is what I'll cover at the end of the presentation. And then I'll go over the resources from our resource partners that are here to help you. And again, these slides are made available at our district website. So really quick, a little bit about the CARES Act. It was signed into law on March 27th, 2020. I cannot offer any kind of legal interpretation of this act, nor can I comment on any portions of the act that is unrelated to the SBA. So the first program is the Economic Injury Disaster Loan. And in order for these loans to be enacted, for this program to be enacted, governors had to write a request to the SBA. And usually when we think of disasters, we think of more localized disasters like Hurricane Harvey, for example. And so it would be just a specific area, certain counties. Because this event is, this crisis is unlike anything we've ever seen before, the SBA worked to reduce a lot of that policy to allow the governors to request a declaration for the entire state and not just certain affected counties, or that was requested. So the entire state of Texas and all the states within the country are declared, and all businesses within those states are able to apply for our Economic Injury Disaster Loan, again, which is the only loan program that I'm going to talk about that is funded directly through the SBA. Now, these loans are up to $2 million. And all the payments have been deferred for the 12 months. Small businesses and nonprofits are eligible for this disaster program. The interest rate for the disaster loans is the 3.75 for small businesses and 2.75 for nonprofits. These are long-term loans, so they're meant to be the low interest, long-term, so that small businesses can afford to pay them. And these loans are used for working capital. So any type of fixed debt, payroll, accounts payable, and other bills are affected by the disaster. And so there are some questions that about like the PPP program. So if you think about having the economic injury disaster loan paying all your working capital and the PPP paying for your payroll, that is a kind of a good way to think about how to use these programs in tandem. Some more information about the economic injury disaster loan. There is no cost to apply. And if you are offered the loan, you're not obligated to take it. And it is not intended for the replace of lost sales or profits or for the expansion of your business. Again, this is only for the working capital for your business during the affected time period of the disaster. You cannot request the amount of money that you need. You can't say, hey, I need $150,000 to support my business during this time. That determination is made by the SBA's loan office, and it's based on the information that you provide them. So, and if you have any other existing SBA disaster loans or business loans, this does not make you ineligible. We encourage everybody to apply. However, if you do have existing disaster and business loans, you cannot consolidate these loans, because this is a federal loan program. So some requirements, there is no personal guaranteed requirements if the loan is under $200,000. If it is over the $200,000 threshold, then there needs to be a guarantee from all the 20% or over 20% or greater owners of the business. As far as collateral is concerned, if the funds, the loan is over $25,000, then there is required collateral. But the SBA will not decline you for a lack of collateral, but requires you to pledge what you can. But that does not include your primary residence in the state of Texas. There has the original stipulations for the EIDL stated that you had to, you couldn't have credit elsewhere. In other words, you couldn't have a revolving line of credit with your bank. This is really for businesses that were struggling to get that access to capital. That requirement has been waived by the CARES Act. So now whether you can have credit elsewhere, you can apply for this loan program. For majority of the businesses that apply for any SBA loan, general ineligibility stipulations are any businesses where gambling is 1/3 of the annual gross revenue, casinos and racetracks where the purpose is gambling, any kind of business that is sexual in nature, pawn shops where more than 50% of the income is derived from interest. We have a new policy out for faith-based programs. So we allow more faith-based programs to apply for our loan programs. And all speculative activities are not eligible. And those who are in the agricultural industries, we recommend that you reach out to our USDA counterparts. So when applying for the EIDL, for whatever reason, it works best with the Internet Explorer browser or the Microsoft Edge browser. You can even do this on your phone. So if you're an iPhone user, the Safari works fine. For whatever reason, Google Chrome and our website don't always like each other. So if you're using Google Chrome and you're experiencing some issues, that may be the problem. So you just need to switch over your browser. We prefer everything to be done online for this particular program. You can, however, send in your application form. The application website is the covid19relief.sba.gov. This is the third iteration of this website, the application website. Our legacy website crashed just due to the sheer number of applications that were coming through. We had a temporary fix where you downloaded the application forms, filled them out, and then uploaded them into our system. Now with this one, which is really great, we've reduced the amount of paperwork and the information that is needed to apply. Our original application form, I think, was like between 20 and 30 pages long, and this is five little sections that you have to go through. The customer service center is a great resource for you. We've beefed up our customer service center and having it as a 24/7 call center. So I know that I have heard some issues with people having a 4-hour wait. Last Friday, I called in and got somebody right away. And so it was maybe like a 30-45 minute phone call for everything. So they have done a great job in being able to answer the public's questions. So this is, the next couple of slides are going to go through the actual application. We've really streamlined the process, and like I said, it's now down to 5 different sections. The first page, it'll basically choose your verification. So as long as you're essentially a business with under 500 employees, you can apply, or if you're a cooperative with not more than 500 employees, if you're one of the tax exempt entities. And then the second part is basically going over everything over that ineligibility slide. You're not engaging in any kind of illegal activity per federal guidelines and so on. Second is the business information. If you can fill out all this information to the best of your abilities, then there should be no issues. At least get all the red asterisks on there. But they're going to ask you for questions like, what is your business legal name, your trade name, your EIN number, or your social security number if you're sole proprietor, your organizational type, so whether you're an LLC or S Corp, C Corp, your gross revenues for the 12 months prior to the disaster date, and the disaster date is January 31st, cost of goods sold, if you had any kind of rental properties, non-profit cost of operations, and so on. The more information that you fill in here, the easier it is for the loan officers at the Office of Disaster Assistance to kind of make their way through these applications. I skipped over the business information because that is just the business owner's personal information. The fourth section of the application process is the one that we get a lot of questions about, and that is how can we opt in for that loan advance, which is going to be the next section after this slide. So on that fourth section, after you fill out this information, click on that checkbox that you would like to be considered for the advance of up to $10,000. And this loan advance is something that you don't have to pay back. So for the people who are like me that like to be prepared before I go and fill out this application, like I like to have all the information prior to, you can go to our disaster website for the non-COVID-19 disaster section, and I have the direct link on the top, and you can download the forms, the business application loan form 5 and the EIDL supporting form P19. And this is essentially all the information that you're going to need to fill out the application. So if you're just one of those that like to be super prepared, this is where you can get that information. So the economic injury disaster loan advance, this was implemented as part of the CARES Act. And this is the loan advance is up to $10,000. You are not guaranteed that $10,000. It just depends on your business and the requirements that you, or the information that you put in. And a lot of that is based on, for this loan advance, your employees, the number of employees that you have. These funds will be made available within days after a successful application. And again, this loan advance does not have to be paid back. So it's essentially like a grant. In the news, you hear a lot about they refer to everything as grants. We like to say loan advance. So same thing. The advance is made available even if your application is declined, is still pending, and will be forgiven. So just remember, if you don't get the $10,000, it's not the $10,000. You get up to the amount of $10,000. But in order to qualify, you do need to go to our current application site, which is the covid19relief.sba.gov. If you went on to any of our legacy sites, our original one, what was the 20 some odd pages application process, and you filled out everything. If you went to the download the forms, fill them out and upload them again, even if you went onto those applications sites and you already applied, and go back into the covid19relief.sba.gov, reapply through there so that you can get the opportunity for that 10K, up to 10K advance. And going back into the system will not impact or slow the status of your existing application. So after you apply for the EIDL, go through the loan processing decision. You can verify all your information. If more information is needed, a loan officer will come out, SBA loan officer will reach out to you and request more information. Again, you cannot request the amount of money that you need. It is based on the information that you put into your system for your business. And typically a decision will take up to about 4 weeks. But just remember that this is an atypical disaster where it's not a localized event. It is nationwide, and we've got millions of businesses coming in. We are doing our very best to get through all these loan applications as fast as we can. However, it may not be within these 4 weeks. Please do not get discouraged. Please stay positive, and know that we're doing everything that we can to help you. But on a typical basis, it is about 4 weeks to go through this loan processing decision. So as far as the loan closing and disbursement of funds, once you sign and submit your loan documents, within 5 days, you'll get that initial disbursement of the $25,000. And there will be a case manager that reaches out to you if you need any assistance with this. So important notes about the economic injury disaster loan application. Delays occur when there is missing information or incomplete information, which is one of the reasons why I put in there the application form so that you can have all this ready. And this is a self-certified system. So do your best to fill out the information completely and truthfully as possible. If more funds are needed, you can supporting documentation to request an increase. And if there's too much funds that you don't want to take all the amount, you can actually request a reduction of funds. If you are denied, you are given up to 6 months to provide new information and a written reconsideration request. Again, if you are in the middle of application process and the site crash, especially with our old legacy systems, then go into our new site. If you've already applied through our legacy systems, go into our new site so that you can opt in for that loan advance. I have heard some issues about the emails. They're not getting the emails. They're finding them in their spam box. So once you apply for the system, make sure that you're checking your spam. If you applied using a work email, make sure that you work with your IT to whitelist that email address, the disaster, anything with the SBA.gov. There are scammers out there. I have seen some emails and some websites of these organizations that are say, oh, I'll help you get all the information, to all your application together. Just give me a couple $1,000 and I'll do this all for you. Or they reach out to you preemptively, like, have you already applied for your economic injury disaster loan? The SBA will not reach out to you unless you have filled out an application. So be wary of those out there that are trying to take advantage of the situation. Again, there is no cost to apply. There is no cost to get your papers together. We've done a really good job of streamlining this application process. There's no credit card needed. And then if there's any emails or websites ending in the SBA.help, SBA.com, SBA.org, those are all fictitious emails. They're not, it's not the SBA. Everything will be in the .gov. We are a government agency. So the next program that I'm going to talk about is the SBA Express Bridge Loan. This is designed to supplement the agency's disaster loan. So this is not a program that we normally have available. This is only available when there is a disaster. This bridge loan can only be made through SBA Express lenders. It's not going to be more than $25,000, and because it is not above that $25,000 threshold, there is no collateral required. And it will, the loan cannot exceed 7 years, nor can it have any kind of revolving lines of credit. So this is just a loan to kind of help alleviate, because we know that there's going to be some time period between when you apply for the economic injury disaster loan and before this, the funds are actually dispersed. So this is what this SBA bridge loan is designed to do, is kind of fill that middle gap. And the bridge loan is set up so that when you do get your EIDL loan, then you can repay that bridge loan in full or with part by the proceeds. On our district website, again, the sba.gov/tx/San Antonio, I do have a list of local approved SBA Express lenders. Some of those lenders include Generations Communities Federal Credit Union, Randolph Brooks Federal Credit Union, Texar National Bank, and so on. So these are the banks that we have that are approved to do our SBA Express loans. The third program that I'm going to go over is our debt relief program. So the program is provided to help alleviate a lot of those challenges that we're facing, in addition to the EIDL and the bridge loans. So the SBA, we have two basic loan programs, and that is the 7A loan guarantee program and the 504 loan program. These, the 7A loan programs are made through SBA preferred lenders. And for those who apply for a new SBA loan, the SBA will pay for the principal and interest of new loans issued prior to September 27th, 2020. For those who have a current SBA loan, the SBA will pay the principal and interest of the current loans for a period of 6 months. For a list of SBA lenders, we do on our website, the sba.gov/tx/San Antonio, you can find a hyperlink to our resource guide. And about halfway through our resource guide, you'll find about 4 pages of our current active SBA lenders. So if you know your lender is not an SBA lender, or if you don't know, you can ask them, or you can go onto the resource guide and see those list of lenders there. So some deferments on SBA existing loans, 7A loans, microloans. There is the deferments for up to 6 months, 6 consecutive months. For the 504 loans, which are done partially through the certified development companies, we are deferring the loans, and those deferments should not exceed 6 cumulative months or 20% of the original amount, whatever is less. And then again, on the existing disaster loans, if you have any disaster loans for the Hurricane Harvey or any droughts or tornadoes or anything like that, SBA will defer all the disaster loans automatically through the end of this calendar year. However, if you have any kind of automatic payments for these loans, you need to basically turn them off, as we're not responsible. If you have to go in there and make sure that those are turned off, because they will still go through. So the Paycheck Protection Program, the CARES Act allocated $349 billion in the Paycheck Protection Program funding for small businesses to be delivered essentially through our 7A loan program. This is the largest economic recovery program in our country's history, and it's underway after being built after 5 short days. And so that's really important to keep in mind. And then in less than a week of this program that began, banks started to be able to take applications starting April 3rd. It has already generated nearly 400,000 loans for more than $100 billion. And this is information as of yesterday at the end of the day. We are expecting more money allocated to this program. And to kind of put some of these numbers into perspective, the SBA guaranteed 63,000 loans valued at $28 billion in 12 months during fiscal year 2019. And that is SBA as a whole and not just the San Antonio District Office. The current appropriations for the Paycheck Protection Program are more than 12 times the volume of an annual SBA lending program. So right now, all of our lending program, our 7A programs, they're done through the banks in partnership with the banks. So these are astounding numbers, but it's also important to look at these numbers and think, okay, there's a lot of people that are going through this, and again, this program was built in 5 days, and that's huge, especially for the government. So to keep all of that in mind when you're applying for these programs. The Paycheck Protection Program, you can apply for the EIDL and the PPP. However, you cannot use the proceeds for the same thing. In other words, you cannot double dip. And that's one of the reasons why I say, if you think of the economic injury loans as paying for your working capital and your PPP paying for your payroll. One of the things about that I like about the PPP is that it is retroactive. So if starting February 15th, you have laid off any employees, you can rehire them. And these funds are made available until June 30th of this year. Another thing that is great about this program is that these loans are fully forgiven as long as the funds are used for payroll, interest of mortgage, rent, and utilities. And with that fully forgiven note in there, you need to keep your employees on for the payroll for the 8 weeks, and 75% of the funds given to you must be used for payroll. So that's something that you need to keep in mind with this program. So who's eligible for this program? All small businesses that are under the 500 employee mark. That's what the SBA deems as a small business. There are some few exceptions based on your industries. And most of the time, businesses that fall in those NICS codes, they know whether or not they're considered a small business based on that. But if you have any questions, you can reach out to me. We can look it up. Nonprofits are available, veteran organizations, the 501c19s. If you're a sole proprietor, if you're self-employed or an independent contractor, you are eligible for the Paycheck Protection Program. So for these loans, interest rate is 1%, maturity rate is 2 years. The first 6 months of these payments are deferred. It is 100% backed by the SBA. There is no collateral, no personal guarantees, or no borrower or lender fees payable to the SBA. There are 2 main forms that are needed, or 2 main sources of documents that are needed, and that is the SBA's Form 2483, which is the PPP application, and any kind of payroll documentation that you have. And if you go to a bank and they're not using the SBA's form, as long as it has the same exact, if they're using their own own form, as long as the information has the same information as the SBA's form, it is a valid form. So you can find these forms online. I do have the direct site, or you can go onto our website. It's pretty easy to navigate and find these forms. These are the first 2 pages of the PPP program form of what you'll need. So in there, part of the form, it asks you like kind of the equation of how much you would need to borrow. You can borrow a maximum amount of the $10 million, but this is going to be, again, you can't request a number. This is something that's going to be calculated for you. Example of that calculation is as long as you don't have any employees making more than $100,000, your annual payroll is say $120,000, and therefore your monthly payroll average is $10,000. You'll multiply that amount by 2.5 and get the $25,000. So your maximum loan amount that you'll get through the PPP program is $25,000. And this is something that you'll need to for the 8 weeks, that starts when you receive those funds. So there are some businesses, business owners who own multiple businesses. You can only receive one PPP program per borrower. So you'll consolidate your business information. The forgiveness will be reduced if full-time headcount declines or if salary and wages decrease. For those with part-time owners, the way it's been explained to me, the way that I understand it is if you have two part-time employees, then you will put them together, put their salaries, their wages together to make them a full-time employee. And that's how you'll add your calculations to determine the amount that you will need. Independent contractors, if you are a business that has independent contractors, you cannot count their wages as part of your PPP calculations. And that is because independent contractors can count themselves. So as far as that payroll documentation that they're going to need, they're going to put in their 1099s. So some additional resources as you're making your way through any of these programs, whether you apply for the economic injury disaster loan and then the bridge loan, or you're doing just a general 7A loan program for your business, or you're applying for the PPP program. We do have resource partners out there that can help you out with this process. They are the small business development centers here in the San Antonio area. They are hosted by the University of Texas at San Antonio, the downtown campus. We also have SCORE chapters. There is a SCORE chapter here in San Antonio, and the business mentors are really great. They are individuals who've been there, done that in business, and want to give back to the small business community. We also have the Women's Business Center, which is hosted by Lift Fund. Lift Fund is one of those lending organizations, the CDFI lending organizations that can support small businesses. In addition to helping small businesses fill out these applications, they're there for you beyond the disaster, beyond the crisis. They're there for your business to help you out and help you succeed. They're very important to have that. It's very important to have that sounding board. So they can help you with cash flow management, social media strategies, your supply chain, any kind of strategic planning or financial tune-ups, and any kind of risk management. Some of the questions that are asked is, what if I don't want to apply for a loan? I don't want to get into any more debt. I just want to see what I can do. They can help you out with that. And that's, and I encourage everybody to, if you have it at least one time, meet with one of these resource partners. I encourage everybody to at least one time meet with them. Right now, they are not meeting in person because of the social distancing. They are, however, meeting virtually. So they are there. And here is the direct contact information for each of the resource partners. Another one that I wanted to add is for the veterans out there, we do have the Veterans Outreach Program, or the Outreach Center. They are located down in Edinburgh, but they do cover half the state of Texas because there's only like 19 or 20 VBOCs within the country. So the one over at UTRGV is the one that supports this area. And that is it. That's all I have.
Okay, so we do have some folks that have chimed in on some questions. I'm going to go ahead and try to do this live. Mr. Frank Labordi, do you want to, can you talk? Are you there?
Yes, I can.
Okay, what was your question, sir?
Yes, I was wondering, can Catholic schools apply for either the PPP or for the EIDL loans?
For the PPP, they should be able to apply. they're considered a 501c3, correct?
Correct, yes.
Yeah, they are they're a tax exempt organization that is eligible to apply for the PPP program, and I believe that is part of the faith-based organization. The new guidance that we have out that we just pushed out too for our EIDL loans as well.
All right, thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
I have also Elsa. Elsa, if you don't mind introducing yourself and you have a question.
Yes, my question was also, I'm a contractor. We do paint and remodeling. And so I'm a contractor for D.R. Horton, but I don't have employees. I subcontract everything out. So can I apply for the PPP program?
The PPP program for you is you are an independent contractor.
Yes.
Then you will apply for yourself for the as an independent contractor.
Okay.
But you will not be able to claim your
Contractors.
subcontractors. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Some other questions we had come in is a business, if a business voluntarily pays an advisor or agent to help with this process, is it allowable by SBA?
As far as if they,
I'm assuming it. I think this came in when you were doing the presentation regarding folks helping you fix, get your applications together and paying for that service.
mm-hmm. If you want to pay for somebody to do that, you can. That is completely on you. Just know that we do not charge for to apply for these services.
Another question that came in: when is it expected to receive funds from the EIDL advance with respect to the $10,000?
Okay, just keep in mind that it is an amount up to $10,000. So it really depends on the number of employees that you have. We have, from what I understand is, as soon as you get some kind of email correspondence with our agency for your application process, within 3 days, you should have that money hit your bank. And that's one of the reasons why I say make sure that you're checking your spam folder, or if you use a work email account that you have anything with the .gov, SBA.gov whitelisted.
Okay. I have also Sandra Ruiz. Sandra, if you don't mind introducing yourself, she has a question. Sandra?
Yes, I'm sorry. It's actually her husband.
I'm sorry, Mr. Ruiz.
We own a local small business. My only question, I guess, is in regards to the employees. I mean, I know you said you have to keep your employees for 8 weeks, but I guess, how do they determine, like, say you have 25 employees to start, and I don't know, God forbid, one of the employees or some of the employees hear about this program and think, oh my God, they can't fire us. So they start just rebelling or whatever you want to call it, just not performing, and we do have to let them go. How does that work as far as, do you just have to hire somebody else on in their place? Or, I mean, how does that work, I guess?
So and that is, I think that's more of a question for the bank, because we've given the bank the guidance that they need. And so each individual bank is responsible for how they want to execute this program and what the stipulations are. Again, as long as the 75% of the loan is used for payroll, and you can show that is, because that's another thing, is that we don't know, like at the auditing portion of it, like what is it going to look like? As long as you can show that 75% of your payroll was used to keep, or the funds were used to keep for payroll,
Right.
And you have these employees on for these 8 weeks of time, you should be fine. But that is something that I would ask the bank specifically, as what they're looking for on the auditing back end of it.
Okay.
Thank you for the question. Let's see here. Another question we have, And I could perhaps answer this. I also filled out some of the with respect to PPP and the idle. The question is this based on your balance sheet and or profit and loss statement? Nina, you might be able to answer this, but what I saw was if it's actually based on your tax return, but if you have not filed your tax return, then it'll go off your profit and loss. Is that correct?
Yeah, if you use your IRS form, what is it, the 4605 TAC T? I think that's the IRS form that is used. I've got a lot of numbers in my head. I can't remember exactly the one that it is. But yeah, it is the IRS form. A lot of times the profit and loss statements are really used for those who haven't been in business for a long time. Those that are like the really new startups, for those who are self-employed and don't have a lot of that information. But yes, I wish I could think of the top of my head, but it is the IRS form, and the numbers are 4605. I'm almost positive that's the form number that is used for both idle and the PPP.
Okay, we have another question from Mr. Frank Labordi.
Yes. Okay, so of the PPP funds, can the 25% be used for anything else besides, what is it, interest on mortgage, utilities, and I forgot what the other one was. For instance, if somebody wants to pay their independent contractors with those 25% portion of the PPP funds, can that be done and still be forgivable at the end of the day?
It's considered part of your working capital. If that independent contractor is somebody that says mows your lawn, then I would say yes. Again, that is, I don't know what the auditing process is going to look like for this. My best answer would be to get with the lender that you are going through, to ask them specifically on what they will allow when they're going through this program.
Would you suggest that that be put in writing?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Have everything in writing.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, we're almost wrapping up here in the interest of time. I'm seeing this. Will the slides be made available to us? Yes, and they're also on the SBA website, but we will also share the slides with the attendees directly. We will also be sharing this on social media, the presentation, the video itself, and also on our new podcast too. So we're going to try and disseminate this information. I think we had some we didn't have any, we had some folks that maybe are taking advantage of sleeping in a little bit while we're working from home. But we'll get this information out today as well. I want to give Mr. Leo Gomez an opportunity if he had any final remarks. If you want to say something, sir, let me unmute you. Or you go ahead and unmute yourself.
There I am. Well, Al, I want to add my thank you to Nina. You represent hope for a lot of folks, Nina. And we thank you and the SBA for what you're doing. I've talked to a number of businesses that are already working through their banks to pursue the various opportunities that are being made available. We thank you again, and we thank the SBA for what it's doing. We'll continue to work with our leaders to make sure that there's a continued pipeline of resources to you all so you can keep helping our small business community. And so with that, again, thank you. Please stay corona free, and look forward to chatting with you again soon. Okay. Thank you, Nina.
And I also have our chairman for 2020 on the line. I wanted to give him an opportunity for some remarks. Mr. Chairman Russell Yeager.
Good morning. I guess I should have gotten in a place where I could share my video, but I'm dressed up for you guys. You just can't see it. No, I really appreciate your time, Nina and Leo. Obviously, it's an interesting time that we're all going through together, and I'm glad that we can get on a video call and still be a community, be a business community together, and look for opportunities to work with each other to to continue to grow and come out of this stronger. So I know that it's a tough time, but I want you guys to know that the chamber here is here, and I know the SBA, and we're all here to help. If there's anything we can do, we just ask that you reach out to us and let us know how we can help you guys, and we're going to do everything we can to keep our our constituents and the Southside strong through all of this. We appreciate your support, and we want to turn around and support you guys back. So thank you guys for your time this morning. We look forward to doing more of these and keeping everybody informed.
Nina, again, thank you so much on behalf of my board of directors and our entire organization. We value your time, your information, everything the SBA is doing, as Mr. Leo said. It's frontlines work for our small businesses right now that we know a lot of them are hurting, especially their heart is hurting when it respect to their payroll. We do see they want to take care of the people. So this is a great program, hopefully, that we can continue to spread the word about. At the end of this webinar, you will be sent a survey link that is from the San Antonio EDF with respect to how you are dealing with your COVID-19 and your business is dealing with COVID-19. So please fill that out. It's some information that we hope will have some value and some data that we can use going forward. Also, please stay well, stay safe, show love. We also have a campaign going on. Please look out for that. The sign behind me, if you're interested in having one for your business, please let us know at the chamber office. We can be reached at 210-240-1764, or my email is al@southsa.org. Again, we're here to serve all the small businesses, small and large, on the South Side that are going through this event. So if there are no others, Nina, do you want to say anything else in closing?
We are, just want to say that we're working around the clock to do everything that we can to help these small businesses recover from this disaster, from this crisis, and get back on their feet. And if there's anything that you need from us, any kind of questions, you can always reach out to our district office.
Okay, once again, everyone, thank you for joining us. This information will be made available, and we will hope to see you next Thursday. We have next Thursday, we will be doing a webinar, same time, with Lift Fund, and hope to see you there. Thank y'all.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.